So we're going to talk about testosterone. Everybody's curious about it. Everybody wants to know what to do to improve it. So here we go. 5 things of why my testosterone is not improving, even though I'm exercising and I already may be on testosterone replacement. And this can apply to men and women. Women need testosterone as well for physical performance, for cognition, for energy, and for sexual desire. So we're going to go through it number 1 to number 5 and help you guys improve the testosterone levels. Number 1, the amount of estrogen that you have. For some people, there are enzymes called aromatase enzymes that cause testosterone to be metabolized to estrogen or estradiol. If those estrogen levels are high, you may have the effects of the estrogen, which can sometimes lead to increased breast tissue in men, can sometimes lead to brain fog, can sometimes lead to weight gain. When you're getting your testosterone labs done, you want to make sure that the doctor is not only checking your testosterone and your free testosterone, but make sure they are checking your estradiol levels. Most doctors know to do this now, but in some cases, it's still not being done, and the patients will be like, I feel worse, my dose is going up, my testosterone is only going up a little bit, and that's because your estrogen levels are increasing in a probably greater proportion than the testosterone. And there's different ways of handling it, there's different opinions. We know now more and more studies come out, men need estrogen, just like women need testosterone, not just men. So in terms of the estrogen, if the estrogen levels are not too high, and some people will say 30, some people will say 40, some people say until you're symptomatic, where you're starting to have hair loss or develop of breast tissue in men, you can let it go because you do need the estrogen. Some other people are now saying that all men, or in this case men mostly, if they are going on testosterone, should be on some type of estrogen blocker like anastrozole. I tend to err on the fact that men need estrogen as long as the levels are not too high in the lab test, as long as they're not exhibiting any side effects and they feel good, we will watch it. But it's a very delicate balance. It's something that's got to be watched pretty closely. So that's number 1. If it becomes even more of an issue, there are ways to block it, both prescription, like I said, with anastrozole and other supplements. You also can get a breakdown of the estrogen. It can be either getting a total estrogen, which is not as helpful. You can get an estradiol, an estrone, and an estriol, which are the 3 different variations of estrogen, to see which one you're converting to. But the main one that we usually are going to see is estradiol. So that's one thing your doctor wants to check out. And what you need to understand is that testosterone metabolism and the way you make testosterone is like a waterfall. It starts all the way up here with cholesterol, as well as a hormone called pregnenolone. If you don't have enough pregnenolone, or if that pregnenolone level is really low, then like a waterfall, if there's not a lot of water on top, it's very unlikely that you're going to make enough testosterone on the bottom, because testosterone is near the end of what we call the steroid synthesis pathway. Another hormone that you do want to check is, again, not as a common thing, is pregnenolone. Pregnenolone is allowed in most states. I am located in New York, and some labs will not let you order pregnenolone in New York. But it's definitely a lab that I've seen patients who have really low pregnenolone. If you give them a little bit of pregnenolone, you can actually get combos where you can either get testosterone with pregnenolone, or you give them separately. Pregnenolone is usually given as an oral pill or sucking candy. The testosterone goes up. You just need to feed the body's ability to make testosterone. If you have only 3 chocolate chips, you only can make a couple cookies. It's the same thing with testosterone. If you don't have the constituent parts to make it, you're only going to have so much. So that's number 2. So we talked about estradiol. We talked about pregnenolone. Number 3, this is a step right above it, and that's DHEA. You want to get what's called DHA-S or DHA sulfate level. That's the most accurate. DHEA does a lot of things. It works as a counterbalance to cortisol. So in terms of managing your stress levels, in terms of managing weight, DHA has some issue in sexual function. It may also affect how your body uses insulin. So there's a lot of different things. But if there's a lack of DHEA, same idea, you're going to have a low testosterone. So no matter how much testosterone you give your body, it's only going to get so much. So you want to make sure that you have an appropriate amount of DHEA. How much is the appropriate amount of DHEA? Again, this is pretty much a huge divide. The labs will say as long as you're above 60, you're okay. The data says we obviously want you more closer to 200 to 400. Those are the levels. My men in like the 20s to 40s, 45. I like them closer to 400 to optimal. And when you're doing DHEA, you do want to make sure, I prefer doing if money is not a concern, to do it from a compounding pharmacy. I just see better effects. You want to do a sustained release, where it's released throughout the day, as opposed to a supplement where you're going to get this peak, and then maybe you'll get a lot of testosterone, but it may convert to estrogen, or you may get nothing, or your body may just set some negative feedback loops, and it just doesn't work as well. You can get supplements that have DHEA and pregnenolone, which I mentioned before, together, and actually make pregnenolone and estradiol together. So these are things that are common. These are things that can definitely be alleviated, but your doctor has to be looking for them, whoever's providing it. Be very careful self-providing. Be a little bit careful with these online testosterone companies, because they're usually, a lot of them are pretty cookie cutter, and they're not looking at these deeper things that can affect your testosterone. And the fourth thing is not a lab specifically, but it can be, is your exposure to toxins, especially things like BPA, which is on plastics, especially like plastic coffee cups, plastic coffee cup lids. If you are drinking from plastic every day, if you're putting your plastic cups and things in the microwave every day, these are going to eventually leach into your body, and they become what are called endocrine disruptors. So they limit your body's production of hormones. And this can happen with testosterone. You can either make what happens with endocrine disruptors and testosterone, either they'll automatically convert the body to estrogen, or it just plugs the system up and does absolutely nothing. It's like a key into lock. It fits, but doesn't turn. So all it means, so right now you have something in the hormone receptor, but it doesn't do anything. You want to be really careful about what you're taking in terms of toxins. Again, plastics, cookware is made of. You want to be really careful of things like Teflon. You want to be using ceramic or stainless steel. You want to make sure that your water is adequately cleaned. You want to make sure that your bedding, holistic bedding has now become a big issue. There's different brands out there where there's no flame retardants, and what your sheets are made of is not harmful to you. Those are the things that we definitely look at. I mean, you want to look at things like phthalates that are anything from your hair care products to your toothpaste. So these are things that you want to be more and more cognizant of. It's not just, okay, I'm going to take testosterone. You want to fix the problem, and it depends on what your body is exposed to. The last piece that may affect, the last piece that I'm going to talk about, there's many other ones that are out there, are zinc and selenium. Like I mentioned before, you need the chocolate chips to make the cookie, you need the water for the waterfall, you need the pieces to make your testosterone. And if your levels of zinc are very low, if your levels of selenium are very low, those are going to affect your body's ability to make testosterone. So you want your doctor to check it. There's some debate, you may actually want to get a red blood cell zinc, which is the amount of zinc in the cell doing the work. This has not been confirmed. This is assumed. Some labs will pay for it. Some lab insurances won't pay for it. Talk about that with your doctor. But those are the things, a starting point to figure out why your testosterone is not where you want it to be. We're going to delve into other things in other videos, things like lifestyle changes and how you're dosing it and when you're checking it and so on. But that's just a way to start. If you have any questions, then put them in the comments section. Glad to try to answer them for you. If you like the content, please feel free to subscribe and like the channel. See you guys soon.